Good afternoon, everyone. As I was getting ready for this session, I was questioning myself as in what should I talk about. After scratching a lot of brilliantly bad ideas, I came back to the question that I often get asked by my customers. These are brand marketeers, they are brand custodians. And the question that they often have is, how do we uplift our story? How do we seize the moment? Now, if you think about it, the question is pretty relevant, right? It is relevant because today, as of right now, there are 2.7 million brands who are creating stories, who are creating content on LinkedIn. And mind you, this is LinkedIn. You have websites, you have Instagram, you have emails coming your way, you have Facebook, Twitter, so on and so forth. The real question is, how would their story stand out, right? Now, before we get to the solution of it and understand how brilliantly generative AI can solve for that, I wanted to take a moment back and understand why and when do brands talk about their story, which are these moments that they want to engage. Now, broadly speaking, you would see there are three kinds of moments that brands want to leverage. The first one, these are always on moments. Now, these are the narratives that they always want to push about their capabilities, about their value propositions, about their differentiations that they have, right? Now, these are things that they control. These are, challenges that their customer face. The next set of moments are topical moments. Now, topical moments are those where they don't control. It could be a news event, it could be a social media event, it could be a holiday calendar event, right? But since their customers are engaging with this moment, they need to tell a story. The last one is basically your created events, right? Or the created moments rather. Now, what are created moments? Created moments are nothing but stuff that they create. It could be a product launch. It could be an event like this, right? Or it could be a webinar, as simple as a webinar that you are doing. But since you are putting up your product up front or your services up front, you need to tell a story, right? So if these are the moments, how do brands talk about their story? What do they do, right? What do they do are three simple steps. One, research. They do plenty of research, primary research surveys, desk research, scanning through news and events to come up with what is the right moment and what is the right story that they want to sort of go for that particular moment. The second thing that they do is to validate it, to understand, do they really have the place to use that moment and tell that story? Would their customers appreciate if they are telling that story, right? And once you do that, the last step is to react to that moment, right? Where you are now generating the content, generating the right story to capitalize that moment. That's easy, right? All you need to do is research, validate, react. So what's the challenge? The challenge is, on an average day, you would find a brand has more than 100 moments that they should or could react to, right? Now, if you ask me, generative AI is the perfect solution for this. But how? I want to take a few examples, right? Let's take this example of a, let's say, luxury hotel. And the moment that they wanted to respond to is the biggest moment that happened in this country last month, which was Ram Mandir inauguration, right? Now, what could be a story that this luxury brand, this luxury hotel brand can take forward? Let's see what generative AI suggested to them. What it is doing, if you go through the ideas that it is suggesting, what generative AI system did here, it understood the moment, it understood the intricacies of the moment, used a prop like the Mandir box, the Prasad box, and tried to sort of draw correlations with what the brand has to offer, and therefore inspiring the brand to say, why don't you tell a story like that? Which are the 7 must-try experiences in your hotel? Let's take another example. Let's say there is an insurance company called as Prestix Insurance, and the moment is Valentine's Day. The marketeers had brilliant ideas. Put 2 couples in a car, a lot of love emojis around, let them feel happy. What did the AI system suggest? The AI system suggested something even more nuanced, where it brought in the subject, which is what their customers love, which is cars, used the emotion of Valentine's Day and teasing them to say, why don't you show some love to your car? And that's the story that they wanted the brand to move forward with. Now, how can you create such nuanced ideas for your moments? If you see, there are two simple things that we need to do when it comes to generative AI. One, give it context. Give it context with your external information so that it is able to understand and identify these moments. Give it context with your brand information, right? So that it can understand your offering and therefore come up with more nuanced suggestions. The second thing is, we often think of generative AI as this one-trick pony, and you love to click on that generate button. But can you use it in a more agentic way, right? Where you're using generative AI first to retrieve that information, summarize that information, prioritize it for you, right? And then click on the generate button. From a technology standpoint, we are at the perfect storm, right? If you look at what happened last week, Gemini 1.5 Pro, it is bringing context window to 1 million tokens, which means literally you can pack 700,000 words worth of context while you're asking the system to do something for you, whether it is generating idea, whether it is generating content for you. The second, there are technologies like RAG, there are technologies like Knowledge Graph, where what it is doing is it is retrieving information from your own training data sets, making them into knowledge nuggets, and then making the generation much more nuanced and powerful when you are clicking that generate button with generative AI, right? From a marketing standpoint, from a marketer standpoint, fantastic, right? They have great ideas now, but what do they do next? The story doesn't end here, right? Because they need to create all of that content, those brilliant ideas in the next 30 minutes. And what would that mean? That would mean you create a blog post, you have to show some love to social media as well. You put things on Facebook, Instagram, and LinkedIn. And then to promote those, you need to create further content by tweeting a few, right? Now, all of this needs to happen in the next 30 minutes. Now, this is the second and the most obvious intervention of generative AI. We have seen it all in the last 15 months. Text to text, text to images, text to videos, right? But the common complaint that we hear from marketers every day, content creators every day, is that it is generic. It doesn't understand my nuances, my brand, my customers, what they love, the colors that they love, the trends that they follow. What do? I come back to the same suggestions. Give it context. Train it with your internal, the data set could change. In this case, it could be your brand ethos. It could be, your brand styles. Teach it with your legacy content so that it understands what's your tone, what's your tenor, what's your style, right? And the next one is even more powerful. See, what we have seen right now is a lot of advancement when it comes to multimodal generation. Where it is moving and where it should move is to become more multifunctional using multimodal capabilities. What does that mean? With one command, can you literally generate the right text, find the right images, or create a new image altogether, put that all in the form of a video, and do it at one shot? What would happen by that? Your generation, your stories are becoming much more coherent, and two, you are saving time. But for a marketer, is that all? Sadly, no. Because for a lot of marketers, it's not one-time story. It's about the saga that you are creating, right? Now, this is the third intervention of generative AI. Where can you use it as a learning agent? Make it learn from whatever you are creating every day. How your audience is reacting to that. Are they liking it? Are they not liking it? And therefore, what should you create next? It's almost like, let's say, I happen to write a blog on how to make strawberry smoothies, right? I don't love strawberry smoothies. But in the good writer in me probably will talk about my first memories with strawberry smoothies, my mom's 7-step formula of how to create the best strawberry smoothie. And in that, I'll also pack in how my mom's magic blender solves for it all. Imagine when somebody is reading that, what are they interested? Not in my first memory with strawberry smoothie. As a reader, I'm interested in what is the right blender to choose. What is the next blender that I should buy? And that is what generative AI can do for you, is to create that connected learning pathway for your customers so that they can interact and engage with you, right? Folks, I think generative AI is and will be a tremendous force in the content creation space. But what we have seen and we constantly encourage our customers to do is to do these three things. Give it context, contextualize it, personalize it, and then generate. Thank you so much for listening in, and I'm around in the next 2 days. If you have any questions, I'm happy to exchange ideas.
For more content on tech and leadership, subscribe to NASScom YouTube channel and press the bell icon to never miss an update.